Madness. This is
Jane Bond art.
Okay, so I was talking about drawing motorcycle. Text sound is here. Drawing motorcycle with a fairing. So it's kind of like a sport bike, you know, this stuff. Так. So let's say, let's take like two types of motorcycle. When we have a motorcycle without fairing, like kind of maybe like most common and somehow easiest to draw because you don't need to calculate all these complex curves in space, right? So we'll do example in intuitive perspective. So what we have, like usually we have a frame, two wheels. Так. Which color to use? Let's do this. So let's say like front wheel, rear wheel. Так. So here's like frame and wheels connected to frame, like front wheel connected to frame with front fork, right? So it's like two shock absorbers connected together with tree clamp, and they attach in the center here. Yeah, let's me draw. So every this detail, you know, it takes little time to memorize, but then it's kind of really essential for drawing motorcycles, because once you learn these elements, after you will see like, yes, it's so obvious. However, I tried to draw motorcycles before without knowing this, because it's so kind of like essential and actually not so hard to learn and remember. It's just this kind of like extra kind of step which we think it's extra, but in reality I think it's like it's essential step which you need to take, like spend some time to break down or learn elements, right? So you see, this is two shock absorbers. So here they have this like lower part, and here is kind of axle on which wheel is attached, right? Wheel disc. And this element here, this center axle, it's a part of a frame. It's a frame actually. Is this part, okay? So, and the rear wheel attached to frame with the rear end. Okay, so let's say construction can be like this. So this element kind of attach to motorcycle frame. Then this can go widens like this. And there is like so kind of fascinating. There's so many types of front fork and rear ends, which is actually fun because again, if you learn different types of this, like this, it's already enough for drawing like most of motorcycles for your like needs. Most of motorcycles is just like this. But if you want to draw something really cool, some like it's the kind of difference between like average and amazing work, it's a nuance, right? So, and if you want to draw some interesting nuance, some like unusual fork, unusual rear end, before you try to be like inventing bicycle, before you try to create some crazy design, just go and look how many already been invented. There's so many crazy, interesting constructions like already exist in real motorcycles. So of course I include it in my book. Hello, Reagan. Yeah. So how long it takes to learn fisheye perspective? It's kind of like it's super broad question, like because no matter how I answer it to you, it will not make much help. So because it's very broad, because very much depends on who you are, right? Like who's asking. It depends on like how smart you are and how much experience you have. So some people have like artist experience, like if you've been drawing like people from observation, like drawing models for 20 years, and then you suddenly say, oh, I want to learn how to draw fisheye perspective. So you're already like very skilled artist. You already have a lot in you. Some people, they might have like zero artist background, but they just very good learners, and like they have like this like apparatus which you need to learn perspective. Like I was teaching engineer, like my friend, like 40 plus engineer, he learned Scott Robertson in 2 weeks. Like adult people, they learn perspective very fast. It's hard to teach perspective to children. It's like, and it's impossible, like in 99%, it's impossible to teach like before 12. Before 10 for sure. Before 10 is like, it must be some like really unusual, like some kind of indigo children who will understand perspective. So don't even like torture them with this. But same, is like, if people have this like developed mind which can work with sophisticated and concepts, kind of, they can focus, they can like work hard and organize, they will learn like fisheye perspective like in 1 day. I mean, without a joke. Just but if you have problem like drawing circle, maybe you should not draw at all. So it's kind of like very broad question, and it's like actually not important, because with all this like difference, right, it doesn't mean if like some guy can learn fisheye perspective in 1 day, if he find like my channel or like a good book, right, and other will learn fisheye perspective like in 1 year, it doesn't mean that second guy don't have talent. Maybe he have, and maybe he like, maybe he will make much more artist work than first type of guy. It's a very, very kind of subjective thing. So real question is not about how much it will take. First of all, it just can't be standard answer for this question. This kind of question, it's really what people asking when they ask, like, how much it takes for me to learn something like this, which is not like, I'm not teaching you how to work with a coffee machine, right? It's kind of very different thing. It's not like just some kind of very simple and narrow specific thing. It's actually very subjective. Like some people can do it very easy, some people just can't do it at all. So, and really what people ask is just they worry. When they ask this question, actually, they worry like about should they do it or not, right? Like, is it worth it? Or like, I don't know, or you may be like super organized person who want to make time management, like how it's called, micromanagement of your future for like 25 years, and you want to write exactly like how many hours will take you to learn fisheye perspective. I mean, I almost sure not, right? So it's like, it's rather like questions like, oh, if it's like, how much will I suffer till the point when I will feel like fluent and happy drawing in perspective? So it's kind of this like question from position of lack of motivation or lack of determination, right? So real, when you have this kind of position, when you like, it looks like so frustrating and difficult, and you want to know like how much you will struggle. Real answer, real question you need to answer for yourself is like, is it important enough for you? Because maybe it will take 20 years for you to learn fisheye perspective. Will you give up if it will take 20 years? So I think like, I mean, like it's kind of like exaggerating 20 years, right? But kind of like this, like I still plan to make some kind of comic book for myself. It was always was some problem, like don't let in kind of, it was some objective reasons why I didn't do this. Now actually I don't have objective reason don't do this, but whatever, I still have it in mind. So and I know I doing this stuff just to make it happen. So, and always all my life with the drawings, it was about like this, is like you might don't have any money, everything you draw might be horrible, but you just keep doing it because I don't know what else to do. It's my thing. I decide to invest in it. It's like my gamble. I might be wrong. It's like a study language, same. Before you fluent in English, in language, before you fluent with a language, it's like incredibly frustrating. It's like it feels like you're absolutely wasting your time for this. There is life happen. Everybody enjoying their time, meeting each other, going to cinema, travel, whatever, like playing computer games. But instead, you know what you do? You sit and write in words. You kind of like doing this like super boring like practice, which feels like you're losing your mind. Because like, what the hell, like weather is great, why are you doing this? Why you sit like some kind of nerd and like dog, cat, walk, cat, jump on a table, this kind of crap. And this kind of process happened for a couple years, like, when you're very bad with it. And like your fruits is like very delayed, right? Like results of your efforts, they're like pretty much delay. So, but because like with language, right, you can say like, yeah, I mean, reasonably, just logically, I know that I can learn it, and I know what will happen when I learn it. So I will able like to talk in English. I will able like to read English books. Like right now, like I fluently like listen and read in English. My speaking not so well yet, but I can read and listen. So before it was impossible, and I just have this like goal in my mind and working towards it, and I didn't know how much it take for me personally. I just know I will be able eventually to doing this. So same here. So like if you will practice, if you will learn, eventually you will know all this stuff. Like fisheye perspective, anyone can learn it. Maybe even monkey can learn it. Probably, I think an experiment. I think even monkey can learn this. So if you just decide, all you need is decide that you will make it happen for yourself and work towards this result. And you can only like ask yourself as like, do I really want to be there, or is not so important? Just and don't try to find answer in your feelings, because your feelings, they will always feelings. Okay. They're random, so they might be like in a point, and they can be like absolutely off. Like they can be like absolutely wrong. You cannot use your feelings as some kind of like indicator, like is you making right choice or not. It's like I'm doing towards the right direction or not. No, just feeling. You will always feel bad and good for no reason. Sometimes for a reason, and a lot for no reason at all. Maybe because you not sleep, maybe because you're tired, you don't eat enough, or you eat something wrong. Your feelings will just like jump in like this. So all you need is just decide for yourself reasonably, like just kind of like make decision and then just go towards this decision. No, hope help somehow. Anyway, so back to motorcycles. Let's make a break here. Oh yeah, about logic. Yeah, you need some logic.
You have no respect for logic. And I have no respect for those with no respect for logic. You're a very stupid person.
No, I mean, it's not about you, but, be careful. Everybody, we can be this way, and then Schwarzenegger will catch you and throw you in the elevator. So, this typical construction for a naked bike. So imagine this like fork, rear end, frame, wheels. All this, it's flexible actually. You can make like wheels different size. You can stretch them, right? Like you can make front wheel like very small, let's say, very narrow. You can make like front fork very long. You can like do whatever you want with frame. let's say frame like this, and let's say your rear wheel can be like this, like giant rear wheel. So then you have this kind of, so let's say, so each of these elements you can do a lot of variations of it. And for, let's say, like sport bike, right? Sport bike have like different type of frame. This type of frame usually it's look like, how to show it. So it doesn't have this bottom part. Of course, there are like many versions, but most common, it's this type of frame. So when it's only like, so here we have this for a fork, right? So when it's only like upper part like this, and it going down here. So, and here is like pivot for axle for rear end. Okay, so like rear end attached to this here. So engine kind of like hanging on this frame. So let's say if we draw from side view, so also kind of every time it's convenient to be able to draw it from side view, because whatever you draw anyway you see it from a side, because in 3D we have top, front and side, right? So here we have front fork. So, and let's say so this will be frame, kind of like one solid metal, like aluminum or some kind of, they're making like stamping it. Sometimes it's even can be, let's say, sometimes they're using forms to create this. So it's like this kind of, okay. Then, so this is major part. To this frame, there also attach this subframe like this, and then so this pivot for rear end, kind of most usual is kind of big thing. So this rear end, so if like for naked bike it's more like narrow, sometimes like even like it can be even like round pipe for rear end, can be like round straight pipe like this. For sport bike they kind of like more massive, rear end will be like, let's say, some kind of like massive thing like this. So same here, axle for rear wheel. And shock absorber can be like, well, like center here, or like one side of this. Can be also two sides. No, anyway. So this main like underlying structure, kind of like skeleton for sport bike, which also can be some like adjustment. And here you see engine It's kind of like hanging. So it's like under frame like this. Okay, so then one more also interesting difference. So let's where to show here. So like this. So front fork, frame. So here we have rear end. Oh yeah, frame. So it's actually it have some kind of extension like this, and this extension is attached to this frame. So when, say like this, so when front fork is rotated, this thing is not rotated. This thing is kind of static. So we have again frame here, this thing here. So what this thing is, it's where they attach like front lights. Also there can be like a cockpit, kind of, you know, instrument panel. So let's see. Like instrument panel like this, right? Oh, and also can be like a CDI, this kind of like motorcycle computer there. So put here. So, and this what happened, it's you see fairing motorcycle, full motorcycle fairing go like this. Okay, so one big fairing element, it's kind of covers this front lights, front engine, almost entirely, sometimes like partially. Then this front part can have like some, like depends on different models, can be like cut or cut off kind of this, you know, so you can see some like ninja and stuff. So, and basically that's it. So it's kind of crazy how turns out a construction of full fairing sport bike, it's mainly it's about this element, because rest of fairing, it's shape of a fuel tank, then shape of a driver seat and tail, right? So kind of this. So so technically, yeah, you can also, there different type of motorcycle, like they can look like a naked bike structure, but the same also using this type of fairing. right? So technically, for sure, we can do this. Cut here. Так, can you see? Так. Okay, so kind of this. So think you see about it's kind of like hard to explain all this stuff. Try to make it as simple as possible. Так. So we have this front. So this kind of front glass. Under this glass, it's kind of screen for instrument cluster. So, and again, you see like what also trying to show here is that you need to, every time you look for a motorcycle, you need to see these layers, right? So beneath this thing will be this fork, like this, right? So, and usually in sport bikes, using this type of handlebars, so it's like clamp added here to shock absorbers. It's a clamp like this and a metal bar like this. Okay. So, and then on this metal bar, so the throttle here. Okay, so that's why I need to have this cut here. So this handlebar can go here. Так. And again, let's see. Have a motorcycle. So every kind of full fairing sport bike, right, you should see this structure underneath, right, which is like very similar to naked bike, because it have all this element. It have this fork attached to frame. Only like for sport bike, frame goes like actual frame go like this, but construction kind of still same like naked bike. I mean, like 3D form, right? We still have like kind of belly. Just inside this belly, you put engine. So it can be like a V-twin, for example. Let's say V-twin like this. So you see, it's like, I don't know, it's like 90% or 80%, right? And what is like make it look like sport bike is just this thing. It's like front fairing element, which is kind of like complex, very complex curve. Let me just, I keep trying ways how to show it simple. So its curve go like this, see, and go like this. Okay, so like I show here, this curve. Kind of this way, right? And then this curve go like this. So, and then we have this kind of crazy cut. So it's like this cut here going into front kind of window. So let me use other color. Like this. So, and let's say, so it's cover engine here, going like around belly, going kind of here, like this. Okay. So, and then it just kind of connects here. So it's all kind of a problem with this. It's managing these curves, but also interesting moment here, like we have this Scott Robertson approach of like drawing like super precise, super technical, like kind of engineering draft, make everything 3D correctly, right? And then we have this like intuitive approach when we already understand form, and just with the practice, like more attempts you do, better you became with the, like catching these forms, catching these shapes, right? So key here is have understanding and put it into practice. So, you know, I can like show, maybe like in the future I will show it's like more in depth, kind of more like geometrical, but anyway, people don't practice it. But for now, actually, this one is very cool key, very cool moment here, which very, very helpful, because now it's just, it might be this like very important detail which you've been lacking all the time. One detail here is what I say you need to always remember. It's kind of like same structure behind. It's like 90% of a sport bike, it's actually like classic bike, like it's kind of called standard bike, right? It's a standard bike kind of like a form construction. It's like I say, right? Like before I put this front fairing, it's just like normal motorcycle with kind of like maybe like little this bigger fuel tank and with this like fancy tail. But it's just like it can be like any, it can be a cafe racer. You can make like this if you want. It's just so. And second, it's curves. So to draw this front fairing for a naked bike, it's for sport bike, you just practice this shapes for this front fairing, okay? And then we can see how we can draw it from different angle. Let's say it's here. And all this stuff again is like, I don't mention it, right? But it's about how to draw from memory, right? Is all this like fancy trendy thing. How to build your visual library and stuff. Because like I don't draw any specific model here. So if I draw like specific model, I will take reference. If I want to draw like specific motorcycle model without reference, anyway, I need to draw from reference a lot to remember this like specific form of this particular motorcycle, right? But then there is some kind of like average standard bike, average sport bike, which you can draw without any reference. You can make it look like similar to real model. So here I define like kind of type of angle, like I showed before in the digital tutorial. Now we can use this like intuitive perspective approach, when instead of drawing side projection, I start from boxes. So box for frame, for a body, box for wheels. Also what, remember to, because, sometimes, before I forget sometimes, to be honest, so everybody forget it sometimes. It's a reminder that this stuff is not your goal in itself. It's not like art. It's not like, oh, here I'm being artist right now, I'm making art. It's like actual like art piece I'm doing right now. No, it's still a practice. So don't kind of take it too personally, don't take it like it's something kind of like extreme importance thing. What you're doing, you trying, you experiencing, you going through process. This is what you're doing. You need this. So, and it also means that when I actually draw kind of like my artwork, I will not do this, not necessary, but I will have it as option, right? Like if I want, I will draw this box if it will help me. But if I'm kind of in a zone, if I know subject very well, I don't need to draw any box. I don't need to draw perspective grid. I don't need pencil, whatever. I will just like draw without pencil at all, right? So, but all this stuff, it's how you learn. It's how you build your skills. You don't build your skills just from dreaming about like, oh, one day I will draw like my favorite artist, or like I will be just like absolutely unmatched, like super genius. No, you get there by actually doing some physical moves, right? So don't think like, oh, I drew boxes, I will draw boxes like for the rest of my life. If you want, you can, but this is just a way to train, to make things clear, you know. And I know if I go to some kind of like art fair, like Kim Jong-gi kind of, where it's like just average customers, just some random people walking around, I know they will not impressed with the boxes. So I just, for this occasion, I will make it look as a kind of like majestic as I can, you know, as possible. Just like don't show in any kitchen kind of stuff. Make it look like it just happen because I'm talented, and this kind of pictures, they just appear from nowhere, and I'm just like dancing with a pencil around paper and everybody clapping, you know, and everybody writing about you. Say, look, he's so effortless. He just, it's look like he just dancing. And he remember everything just because he have a glance like yeah, this guy, he can just glance on motorcycle and draw it from memory. No. It's like also funny, it's like, you know, how many times did you hear this thing about in a dream you can speak, like somebody like in a dream can speak foreign language, but in real life he don't know this language at all. It's like in my dream I was speaking like Hindi kind of, or high school, but I don't know at all. How can I be so fluent in my dream? It's some kind of like magic dimension of reality, kind of, right? No, it's just how dreams work, right? They make you feel like you're speak foreign language, when in reality it's just a gibberish, because nobody looking to verify is real language. It's just you believe it's real. So same way, like so many people, they just for no reason believe there is visual memory, kind of like you just look and you remember it like a magic. No, it's this kind of visual memory just don't exist. You can try to prove me it exists. I will like I'm waiting your evidence. Usually it's just, you know, it's like it's the same story like with people who don't need food. Like, yeah, he just like he don't need food, he just sit under sun, and the sun give him everything he need for like last 20 years, you know. Okay, like of course I don't believe this stuff. Because I'm kind of like sure this guy, like when you don't look in, he just takes some sausage from his pocket and eat, and like this is why he's obese. No, he's he's not fat because like he have too much sun. like some kind of like sun overeating. So same like in visual memory, no real. What is actually real? It's just a memory. So people who have good visual memory, like if we talk like, I mean like currently it's like everybody example is Kim Jong-il. His visual memory is not visual memory. It's a memory and ability to analyze fast, right? So it's like he looking object and he like he's thinking about what he looking at. So he understand what he see. He remember like elements of what he just been looking at. So instead of just like kind of like gazing kind of mindlessly, right? These people who have like this ability to memorize how things look, they memorize elements of which this object made of. So later they can draw them because they remember these elements, like these elements I showing you. Before you kind of know about all this, right? But somehow you're not so crisp and you're not so kind of conscious and aware of them. You need to have this like structural, sharp attitude kind of to stuff, to subjects you want to draw. And this is what make you have this like visual memory, you know, which like visual there is just like a surface. It's like iceberg tip, like 5% kind of, all 95% beneath this iceberg is just kind of like a verbal memory. It's like your ability in the words to tell yourself story about what you're trying to draw. Say like 2 wheels, front fork. Front fork consists of 2 shock absorbers and 2 this kind of clamps. As clamps make this fork attach to frame. You know, I can tell it in the words. That's why I can draw it. This is actual visual memory. And because you know, it's very interesting. Like when you put memory in the first place and the visual on the last, you realize as actually visual part, it's the easiest. It's kind of like you already can do it, you just didn't know. But what you always struggle with is just have clear understanding and have this kind of like educated approach to thing you're working with. And that's it. It's kind of so simple. So, and it should be so obvious, but the world is like this. Like most. So here I add subframe. So it's kind of like, it's also rigid part of motorcycle. It's belong to kind of motorcycle body, but structurally it's like sub. It's because it can be different type of subframes. Like we can have this main frame and we can attach to it different type of subframes. Okay. So maybe, you know, it's like it was a long time when people was like let's say like yeah, like kind of this like postmodern era, you know, when everything been challenged. Like you just want to negate and be like opposite everything normal. And now we're kind of going back to this era where we need to kind of like remember what is normal things, what is simple things, just like obvious things, you know, just kind of look around, see like everything clear, right? Don't need to overcomplicate all this stuff, don't need to create some crazy concepts. Just let's go back to kind of some normal reality where things is works and clear. Так, so, and then, so here we have rear frame, rear end. Так. So, and now you see, like, I will add this extension, which is also like kind of like subframe, but for a front. So in my book, I kind of also explaining this, and I also explaining like different way how you can draw it. So you don't need to like always draw it from inside out. You can draw it from outside to like start from maybe like primitive 3D forms. Okay, so we have this, right? And yeah, I don't need to draw engine here. Maybe I will, because this thing will cover a lot of it will cover a lot of view, right? So now we need this front fairing, this complex curved thing. So we have this curve. Then here will be a mudguard. So let me make this more clear. So this extension. So again, you see how this curve goes. So here we have this. Then it's kind of go this way with the curved edge. Okay. So this kind of part here, right? Also, like, yeah, maybe show you. Like this. Curve like this. Then it curves here. And here it's kind of like, that's why it's all the stuff, it's mind-blowing little for first time. But if you remember this simple structure kind of, right? So it can be just like a square, all this. You can simplify it to square. And then you just add these curves, right? So this thing can be extended. So it's kind of like, this is width of motorcycle. It's like this, a belly, kind of this. So it's here, right? So this curve go like this. So, and then it's kind of like motorcycle width here. Okay, so you just need to see a reason why curvature go certain direction. So let's say like this. So again, if we say like this. Okay. So here from bottom. Hello, Kylie. Yeah, I talk a lot about Kranz cubes. So just my tutorials about perspective types. Just go to how to rotate in perspective. So there I mentioned and explain also kind of Kranz cubes. Okay, so we have this, right? So and then you see we have this side view, right? This side view. So we just draw this curve, right? And now we draw this like a windshield, like this. It's like a center line. Так. So and then we have like I have actually toy bike. Yeah. Haha. Almost forget. How silly I am, right? So here again example. So it's Ducati Panigale. Ducati Panigale. So you see this what I was talking. We have like this front extension. Here's something weird with the frame. So it's not kind of typical. This thing is like airplane. But here is this I mentioned, right? So we have this like front extension with some additional, it's like kind of like mud protection here. And speedometer kind of, you see here. So there also might be most likely kind of computer there, like CDI hiding somewhere, some kind of stuff. So you see how fork moving, but this thing is not moving, right? Okay, also as elements here, you can see this engine attached to top here. This like coolers for liquid cooling system of engine. Так. And here this front, it's front fairing, which I was explaining, right? So I give you some standard design, and here you see is like one type of this front fairing. So we have this curve here I was showing you, right? So it goes like this. It's widens at certain point, and to bottom it's narrows. So also if you look from bottom, it's like more triangular. Here I draw more round, but this type is a little more like triangular. And here what we need now, like we already draw this form, and we draw the center line to show in how curvature of a windshield go, right? Now we need to show this one. So even for this motorcycle, I recommend like first just have, you know, like average down it. Just make like a general shape first, and after you can draw all these cutouts. It's more convenient because first you need general form. And as I show here, like you see, this general form is this cut for handlebars. So here kind of handlebars can move here. And then it's going this to cover engine. So we can now, so I make it specifically so I can take it out to demonstration. Так. Yeah, you can look like perspective for beginners. I have 2 tutorials. Так. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so we see. Now I put it here. So you see how kind of like simple it is. It's just like we have this front fairing, engine shape, and this tail shape. That's it, and we have like sport bike, full fairing sport bike. You see this line right now. We can show how it covers this like belly and side of motorcycle, and then you see again how it's kind of here. It's like a little okay. Okay, now it's connected properly. So we have some space for handlebars to move. So it's kind of construction here. So here we have this line. So if I have handlebar here, say like this. Okay, so and then here you can make it like this, kind of like arc. Okay, so once you have this general shape, you can like carve it. You can little adjust it to put some fancy additional shapes or cuts. Так. So let's see. Also, then you can add. So let's say like this. Yeah, and also like mirrors. So mirrors can be like part of handlebar, or it can be attached kind of. No, it's of course attached within this frame. It's not like attached to fairing, but it's kind of like appears from fairing, kind of this. Let's say maybe here. Okay, so let's say somewhere here like this. Так. So then have like fuel tank. you see. So then can be like can make like a driver and passenger here. Let's select this. So also like exhaust pipes, you see, they have many different. Sometimes they put exhaust pipes going from here. In this case, they put it in the bottom. So can choose. Maybe I can put it here. Be like also like double exhaust pipe. So, and shock absorber kind of in the middle here. So again, you see like this. So this your general structure for it, how to not struggle too much. So, and not overthink this part with fairing, because it can be like super confusing. But all these types, they have same this form, and then you can just, let's say, cut it, make it like more angular. Can here make more triangular, more aggressive. Or maybe more like old school kind of. So main, again, remind here, main two elements which actually will allow you to draw, kind of get through this barrier of drawing full fairing motorcycles. It's like you need to be able to draw a naked bike, just like average standard structure, like wheels, frame, fork. And then you just need to practice drawing these curves, because actually even like from different angle it's the same curves, right? We have this curve here, and then we have this kind of body curve, and then we have this center line for windshield, and you connect them together. That's it. And you don't need to kind of like overthink it too much, like, because this form is super complex. It's like, it was like insane when I was figuring it out, and then I was thinking like, how can I explain it to people? Most convenient and practical, useful explanation so far it's this. Maybe I will improve it later, but so far like you will not find anything better than this, it's for sure. And then you can draw your details. Let's see. Ask me questions. Talking something you want. Так. So here I also recently was drawing this bike. I like this element. So you see, it's also just kind of extra. Kind of once I have this shape, I just add to it, like make it a little more complex. Так. Forget brake caliper. Так. So here. Let's do like this. So just kind of improvising motorcycle, can go from imagination. So Gene Bond bike. Так, so here also, so here we can see some motorcycle frame. and there usually is like food pack attached to it this way. Then we have this. Also have passenger seat, so for passenger also need food pack. Footrest. Так. Okay, where's the mirror? Okay, let's draw here. Some rear turn lights and my muffler. Так. Like this. Так. Just some kind of design. Don't forget mirror here. Yeah, so write me your comments, whatever you have in mind, like right now in the chat or after video. Just I like to receive feedback, you know. It's really inspiring when people write like they learn something. Because kind of communication here, it's also essential part of making tutorials. Because I'm making it for people, you know, not for YouTube. It's for people who watching. So it's nice to see feedback. It's like you can join my Discord. Where's Discord? Invite. Wait a second. Invite. What? Wait a second.
Who are you?
Jim Bond.
Yeah, so you can also share your stuff on Discord. So like share your progress. How's your perspective learning goes? Now there is not much people, so I kind of more open to give feedbacks. But later it will be only for YouTube members and the patrons. When it will be too much people, right now you have this opportunity to receive feedback, comments for your perspective from me. Kind of like share your homework, ask what do you want to improve. Because like there's a lot of people like asking me in the chat this kind of questions which impossible to answer when you don't see what people actually draw. So like you need to see people drawings because it's about drawing, right? It's not some just kind of creative writing or debate class. Так. Second.
Madness. This is Jane Bond art.
Thank you, Nihilo. Thank you for feedback. Так. Drawing some motorcycles with a heavy metal. Make your own paradise. Here you can see. Also, maybe you can main shape for fuel tank on a sport bike. It's kind of like this, right? But I will also say it's kind of like this. So it's like typical shape, right? So here is like they even make it like a wings. So crazy. Yeah, it's like sport bikes. They have so many like these nuance additions, you know. But again, it's just important. Remind yourself, don't lost in details. Remember, like details are like branches on a trunk. Don't start from details. Instead, you better like add them. You know, they sometimes have some wings, cuts, whatever, like lamps. Yeah, forget control like here. It's kind of like turn light. So this is our like huge part of our visual library building. It's this kind of like analytical and systematic approach. Так. turbo. So turn lights. So, and again, I kind of like remind you how it works. Your ability to draw in a different angle, your ability to draw from memory, it's first of all, it's how you remember what you draw in the words. And you kind of train yourself, you train this skill to be able to draw these words in a 3D form. It's kind of like general default skill. For example, like, you know, like if I say wheel, right? Yeah, we know wheel is like tablet kind of, right? So I know if I want to draw wheel in perspective, like this perspective grid kind of, right? So I can like start with a box for a wheel and then draw ellipses in a wheel, right? So it's a word for me, and I can like have like characteristics for this wheel also in the words. Like, I mean, not like I can have, it's like what always, how always it works. First, you kind of mention it for yourself, even if you don't think about it, but it's like a start with the words. Say like, okay, narrow wheel, like thick wheel, what type of wheel, like motorcycle wheel, like a monster truck wheel, right? And then you know like how to make it in a 3D form. So if I say like car, yeah, okay, car, I know it can be like from this angle as first is will be some kind of box. Then I say a car have 4 wheel, yeah, like 4 tablets, right? So I remember like car have 4 wheel, right? What else I remember? Okay, from this angle I might see like kind of like engine protection. Then I might see like suspension kind of 4 wheels, right? So some suspension is like tubes. Then it can be like this thing, forget how it calls, but I remember it's like a pipe kind of going into rear, and then it's like a bulb kind of this, and then it goes to this rear wheels. Then I remember, okay, like it have a bumper. Bumper also is kind of like a right angle, and this right angle you kind of cut, so it has this kind of shape, right? So you can draw it from any angle because you can see it as a box, as a simple form. So I can like rotate this bumper kind of to draw from any angle, right? And I can like add it to front. Say, okay, it's like here, let's say. Then we have like, I remember like hierarchy, like car body. It's like box like this, like I draw already. And there's like car tumble dome, kind of. It's a smaller box. So it's kind of like I have it like words in my head, you know, and I've been drawing it to also like install it as a words in my head. And then like, okay, inside the smaller box, I draw like tumble dome kind of. So it's kind of for my car here. So from this angle, this box might be here, it's like overlap, right? And this kind of tumble dome, let's say like this. Then it can be like this, like cut section, and etc. etc. It's just like keep like reminding yourself like what is there also, what also I can add. Maybe I can add like lights on the roof, right? So it's kind of this tablets with a frame, or like, yeah, there is also doors, right? So it should be like cut on the body, car body. Also I can like glass, window glass can be moved down, so it'll be like this. Also this I say, actually it should be round, right? So all this like words. So same kind of motorcycle, you first memorize what components it have, and then you can you should like learn how to draw these components as a simple 3D form, because when it's simple 3D form, you understand how to draw it from different angle. Так. Have some coffee. Так. So here you can see other side for handlebar. Так. Так. So. Bah. I can go crazy. Да. Так. So. Here again, it's kind of bottom part, right? It's like in a different motorcycle, it's different, but It's kind of similar, is that you see it should be some space where fork can move. So basically, like when you draw from bottom, you kind of like might have this kind of like holes for a fork. Let's say again, is a general idea which can have like many modifications, many adjustments. Так. Так, kind of this. So let's say here mirror, so так. Marcos curve. Crazy curve. Kind of this. And mirror. Так. kind of. Oh, let's do this one. So, also it's the exposed frame. Okay. Так, fuel tank. So here put rest for passenger. So так, and так. So here first muffler. And shock absorber. Так. Так. Okay, so let's put some shading. What kind of? Oh, we have some ink. Так. So here is just I mix ink with water. Yeah, somehow drawing ellipses traditionally much easier than in digital. In general, kind of traditionally drawing always more enjoyable. Digital feels kind of dry and artificial. Also, especially right now, I even less appreciate digital. It's because you kind of like compete with AI now when it's digital. It's kind of same material. But kind of like very soon traditional also will compete with AI, because when will be these robots, like, which I think like really like in a couple years it will be like new iPhone. It will be just like people will rent or maybe like lease robots for house, and these robots like kind of will able to do any manual work, like whatever, like cleaning house, cooking. And if they can cook, if they can do this kind of like sophisticated manual work, yeah, I'm sure they can draw. So they will also be able to hold brush, paint something like watercolor technique. So once kind of this will be like physically possible for a robot, just kind of meticulous brush work, then for sure it will able to create any kind of quality, any complexity of painting, like watercolor, oil painting, whatever. Because this thing can learn like, no, I mean, it will not learn kind of. You will just like download, how's it called? Yeah, you will just download some extra functions, like painting functions, like download from official or from some kind of like open source. So say, okay, can paint like oil painter. And can say like, hey robot, paint my portrait. So it's just some kind of new reality, which hard to kind of understand entirely. Still kind of, I believe it will not like destroy art. It will be just kind of like change art market for sure. It's kind of like movies, for example. First was camera, photo camera, then was movies, then interactive computer games, but still people paint and still people buy paintings from artists. So I guess even when a robot will able to paint pictures, people still will buy painting from humans, because it kind of will be important. It's not a robot work, kind of. So maybe even like handmade art will be even more expensive. I don't know. So it's hard to predict all of this. But in the same time, it's kind of what is true is that it's kind of like idea of paint something, of like kind of when your robot kind of at home can create masterpiece in I don't know, couple hours, at like any level masterpiece. Since kind of like people expectations will be higher maybe for art quality. So like it will hard to impress. Well, I mean like already people like see super pretty pictures everywhere every day. So they hard to be impressed. Так. So I guess that's it for today. So I'll leave it here. Maybe next time we'll draw like, so here's just 3 view. Next time can draw like 10 different angles. So write me in a comment like what you want to see in the next tutorial. Okay. Kind of for today, I think it's over. Yeah, anyways, 2.5 hours. See you later.